to Jake and Trev Review Everything.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Trev. And now, part 2 of our Walter Hill double feature review, we're going to be taking a look at Extreme Prejudice.
Now, we're going to be making some comparisons at the end of this one, so if you haven't seen our review of Streets of Fire yet, you should go back and see that. There'll be a link, maybe, here in this area.
He's going to put it over my face.
Somewhere in America, a secret war is being waged.
It's a case of national security.
Go. A war of deception.
It's a daylight hit.
Extreme Prejudice, the most westerny western that Walter Hill ever produced.
I'll put on a good show.
Real western.
Yes, sir.
There are two perfectly good movies here that, for no discernible reasoning, have been crammed together. They don't mesh very well. They don't really offer much to the other story.
And ultimately, there's like an A story and a B story, and the B story ultimately is not. It doesn't really come to a very good end, so it's really disappointing when you have to untangle the web of plot points that are in this movie when there's not really that much of a payoff. I mean, you don't watch movies for a payoff for the most part. There's plenty of movies with bad endings that are good movies overall, but it really kind of dampens the sentiment of everything that happens in this movie.
Right, and while I said there were two perfectly good movies here, I take that back, because if left to its own devices, neither story is really fit to be its own movie.
You had your chance.
The action's really good. But
relatively far in between. You know, there's a lot of dry gaps in this movie where there's not a lot of action going on.
No, absolutely.
At least in the the fighting sense. You know, if you like watching some guys putting together a job, you know, for example, Heat or something else like that, the Inside Job, Inside Man, you know, where people are working on putting a mission together, a plan together like that, and you like kind of working or watching people work that way. That action was somewhat good. But
it's very much like a classic job movie. But then again, the A story in this movie is very much a western. I would say that it's very similar to Once Upon a Time in the West. You have the main sheriff character in this movie. Was he a sheriff or was he a...
He was a Texas Ranger.
He was a Texas
Ranger.
Ranger.
The original Texas Ranger.
So he was
before Walker.
Super Cowboy, played by Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte? In a Walter Hill movie?
You're crazy.
The first time I watched this trailer before I watched this movie, I was like, it looks awesome. It's got all the characters, all the actors that I love in a badass, tough guy action movies.
Nick Nolte. Clancy Brown, Michael Ironside,
Powers Booth.
You know, it's a hard-hitting star list on this one. So you know, you were really expecting something good, and when you watch the trailer, you still are. But
you're kind of they just throw so many lines into the movie, you're not entirely sure what's going on.
Sure, what this is about?
Even the trailer has that feeling like it's two movies mushed into one. If you like classic action films like that, with just like shootouts and tough guys being tough guys. There's so
many tough guys.
So much dick swinging in this movie. There's a little bit of dick swinging in Streets of Fire, but in this, they could use it as a grappling hook to climb up buildings and shit. That's how much they swing their dicks. Okay, so we're gonna break down the movie real quick, give you a quick description of what happens in the movie without too many spoilers. As we said, there's an A story and a B story. The A story has to do with Nick Nolte's character in the movie. I can't remember his name. What was it?
Jack.
Jack. That was
tough guy name.
Tough protagonist, yeah, okay.
He's always been a real badass.
So he's there with, who is it, Rip Torn?
Only thing worse than a politician is a child molester.
Rip Torn is a local sheriff, I believe.
Rip Torn is a local sheriff. He's also kind of like the older guru-type officer.
Father figure.
And they are working together. Apparently there is some drug trafficking happening in their part of Texas, which is apparently is close to the Mexican border, Mexican-American border. And then there's a man in white, Cash Bailey, and he's He's the man in white. He's a drug dealer, drug trafficker. He has his base in Mexico. He traffics into America, and they're trying to stop all the drug trafficking happening in their neck of the Texas woods. And
but what's the complication? Because this sounds pretty straightforward.
Well, the complication is that Cash and Jack are childhood friends.
Old Hellraiser Jack and his best buddy Cash.
So it's adult cops and robbers. It's all grown up.
And to complicate things further, Jack's girlfriend, on and off girlfriend of a couple years, used to go steady with Cash.
No, I always thought we messed that up. I always thought I should have married that damn gal, even if she was a Mexican. I didn't come down here to talk about her, Cash. Now drop it.
But Nick Nolte's character will not talk about it. He does not want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about this. I can't talk about it.
I don't want to talk about this.
We got to give it a rest. The talk. All of it.
You won't tell me about it?
No. I just said we have to give the talk a rest.
Don't push me.
He's doing a great job of wearing the Nick Nolte stoic mask.
Oh, throughout the entire movie, any emotion that Nick Nolte's character has is right behind his face where you can't see it.
I don't want to talk about it.
So that's the A story, basically.
And the B story is basically there's a group of military operatives, black ops, who are all supposedly dead on the record. And it becomes very clear that they're getting ready to pull off some sort of job. It's not clear what side they're on or playing for. There's certainly a good amount of deception.
So those are the two stories that are happening in this movie at the same time. They are intertwined, barely, by a thread.
Here you can see a 1,000-pound load easily suspended.
So we're gonna go into the plot a little bit here and stuff like that. So So talking about the characters, that A-team, B-team, they reiterate over and over again that they're a crew and they have orders and they have to follow their orders. They all have their own quirks. There is a guy that does their tech stuff and wiretapping and bug placing and stuff like that. And then there's a demolitions guy.
Meanwhile, on the other side, with Nick Nolte and Powers Booth...
Yeah, they have a meeting in the beginning of the movie. Alright, this is 20 minutes into the movie. The main good guy is having a meeting with the main bad guy, and they could easily just blow each other away right now and save us, like, the rest of the movie. They're both trying to sway each other to their side. Nick Nolte's character's like...
Quit selling dope, Cash.
Cash Bailey, he comes in as like...
We ought to work together.
So obviously they're not going to see eye to eye on this.
So they both ask each other to switch sides from cops to robbers or vice versa.
Not work.
I got a feeling the next time we run into each other, we're going to have a killing.
Powers Booth starts taking it kind of personal and starts talking about this girlfriend that they apparently both had.
By the way, how's Sarita?
She's fine, Cash, just fine.
Still singing pretty as ever?
Pretty as ever.
So I heard.
Oh yeah, he's like, oh, how's my girlfriend? That's your girlfriend now. How do you feel about that?
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about this.
If there's one word that can be used to describe Nick Nolte in this movie, I think it's stoic.
Yeah.
Wait, Nick Nolte being stoic? In
Oh.
a Walter Hill movie?
You're crazy.
It's very, very clear to me that Walter Hill has a great deal of affection for Nick Nolte's particular brand of tough guy.
He's always been a real badass.
He doesn't drink as much because he is very particular about who he drinks with.
That's right.
I'm particular who I drink with. I'm particular who I drink with.
One of the first things that really happens between the two storylines, Nick Nolte and Rip Torn go to a gas station where the gas station owner says, oh, well, there's a guy here that he's dealing drugs. He's a drug dealer. He was also the brother of somebody they blew away earlier in the movie.
Just sit down and talk to him about how you shot his brother night before last.
I'm going around the back way.
It turns out it's a trap.
Mm.
So Rip Torn gets shot, and Nick Nolte takes out a bunch of the guys. Two of the guys get away. Well, the Kurgan
Happy Halloween, ladies.
and
General Katana.
That was great! Yes!
They're watching from a distance.
they're watching this setup go down for no reason, because their plot has nothing to do with what's happening here. Were they
some
following
reason.
him around or something? Anyways, so the two characters that get away from the shootout end up in the path of the B-team guys who end up killing them.
They terminate them with extreme prejudice.
That's the name of the movie.
Extreme Prejudice. Total Recall.
Hot tub time machine.
Well, apparently military guys in this movie are really fucking dumb because they shot these drug guys but left their shell casings there from their super secret special ammo. So while the Texas Ranger is investigating these shell casings, Michael Ironside poses as a DEA agent.
Frank Ralston, DEA.
And shows up and is like...
It's 9.3 mil from West Germany through Montreal. It's special, but it's not that special.
And later on, there's an officer that's like, oh, well, actually, the casing is special military issue because, I don't know why he even dressed up as a DEA agent to do all this stuff when he knew full well that if they had ran another check on the shell casing, which they did.
The bullets was Army issue, Special Forces. That's why they didn't show up in that catalog, because they keep it secret and all?
That it would turn out that it was special military issue ammo.
You're dumb.
And all that kind of connects in too with the B story as the military group was trying to pull off this job. There's this tension that kind of seems to be building on the team as the superior, in this case Michael Ironside, is saying,
What we're going to do as we're told. Right, Sergeant?
And his subordinates are beginning to question whether or not this is the best way to handle it.
Some people are going to get themselves killed.
Yeah, well, Buck, don't tell us, man. Tell Hackett.
Commander's not supposed to put us in those kind of situations.
There's definitely kind of a pretense of an issue of trust. And so many soldier issues, duty and honor and...
My buddies died face down in the mud.
I got my country and I got my buddies, and that's it.
And Michael Ironside, as the leader of the group, keeps upping the ante as far as things that they're not comfortable doing.
It's a daylight hit.
What?
Well, their orders in this case, you find out earlier in the movie that they're trying to do a bank job. And the whole reason they're trying to do a bank job is to get into a safety deposit box. You don't know what's in there, but you know that it's super important, and they're going to steal a bunch of money to cover up the fact that what they were actually after was in the safety deposit box.
Right. And, that's the thing. While these are, hardened soldiers working in the darkest echelons of government military operation, they still have perfectly intact compunctions about killing American civilians.
They don't want to do it.
We'll blow something up.
Yeah, like what?
Building, a barn, something.
A school, a church, something.
What, are you particular?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I am.
Many of them appear to be genuine men of honor.
So basically what they do is they set up this heist. They create a huge explosion, which is an awesome explosion, if you like explosions. There's a shot of the truck rolling up, and you just see a whole bunch of canisters of something on the trailer, and then as the truck's kind of like pulling off to the side, you can see the label on the trailer. It's like, hydrogen. And it's like, oh shit, this is going to be awesome.
That's awesome!
So they blow up a barn in the middle of nowhere so that all of the police officers in town drive up to see what the hell happened, and then they cut the communications to the police station so that the police won't respond when they're robbing the bank. The two characters that set up the explosion have to be back at the bank in order to cover them so that nothing bad happens.
On the exit, right.
But they're driving like maniacs. It's crazy. So what happens is they get stuck. Like they get stuck in the sand and dirt, and they have to like try to get this car out so that they can go there in time. And they're arguing with each other like, we need to stop the mission. No, the mission has to keep going on. Radio silence, blah blah blah. So they get there in time, but then what happens is that one of the drug cartel guys shows up to the bank, and during their heist...
Yeah, for some reason, leading up to this, Powers Booth's guys, his operative who looks like Artie, the strongest man in the world...
Your weapons are useless against me!
Yeah. He's the midnight bomber who bombs at midnight. And he's laying these explosive packages in different businesses, and earlier in the film he dropped it off at a place that had these rabbits in it. It was like an adjunct to a pet store or something.
He drops off a rabbit and then it explodes.
That rabbit's dynamite.
He's a tertiary character, but
you're still scratching your head watching
like,
the bank job.
Who is he allied with? They show up, and one of the B team gets shot and killed in front of the place. And then, as two of the guys are trying to escape, then Nick Nolte's character catches them before they get out of town and then throws them in jail.
When they run their fingerprints back at the police station after catching the two guys from the military team, and the response they get back.
How can they be officially dead and two of them locked up in there?
See, I don't know. When I think of a black ops unit, I imagine there's a little phrase that they use a lot, deniability.
It helps when we're doing work overseas.
If they had different information, like if they had different names, you know, this is Todd Dingle, and he is from Wisconsin, and he runs a paper mill or something, like that would make more sense than being like, he was a special ops guy that died, but he's alive in your jail cell. It doesn't really make any sense.
That's weird, huh?
Yeah. What?
Yeah, that's a good story.
In any case, Nick Nolte goes and confronts Michael Ironside, finds him, confronts him, and Michael Ironside, who has already lied to him in this movie, and he knows it. He tells him how, oh, we're military guys, we're here on a secret operation to stop Cash Bailey and his smuggling. It's revealed through him that Cash Bailey was a operative of like a deep cover-up for like the CIA.
And he actually used his connections to the CIA to clear all of the competition out so that it was just him, and then he went rogue and became a drug kingpin.
So Michael Ironside asks him to let his guys go so they can complete their operation, go down to Mexico and take out Bailey once and for all. And he does it.
Yeah,
no,
like,
he does it. Oh, okay.
I'll let your two guys that obviously robbed a bank out of jail.
I mean, you've already lied to me, so I don't see any reason why I wouldn't trust you now. And at this point in the movie, actually, I believe it's been revealed that Nick Nolte's girlfriend has gone back to Cash Bailey.
Oh, yeah.
Where's Sarita? Gone. She come in and say she go with an old friend to Mexico.
Walter Hill hates women. They're all emotional and indecisive.
And objects. In the beginning of the movie, it's a little tense between Nick Nolte and his girlfriend because she's like, well, you haven't proposed to me, you know, it's been on and off, what are we?
I'm talking to you, you gotta talk back, even if you don't want to.
Right.
You know.
Wait, Nick Nolte has commitment issues? In a Walter Hill movie?
Don't push me.
He's really dragging his feet on taking their relationship any farther. And because of that, she decides that the best thing she can do is to go back to this dangerous cartel dealer that she already left once before.
Cash, he used to be so good to me.
Maybe you should have stayed with him.
And so she goes and crosses the border with him and goes to Mexico to his drug stronghold.
So this is part of the reason why Nick Nolte's character has to go down to that drug stronghold is to get his woman back.
So Commander Hackett agrees to take him with him. They go down to Mexico together. And that, in and of itself, should have raised some red flags.
And then the other team are getting also kind of suspicious because at some point when they get down there, Michael Ironside tells everybody, oh, well, we brought Nick Nolte here for no reason. I could have killed him back in the States, but if you see him, kill him now.
Excepting members of this immediate family, there are no friendlies.
Now, the cowboys are friendly. He let us out of jail. Why do we have to kill him, Major?
So they're in this room, and they're apparently having a sweating competition.
Oh, my God, they're
just
so
hot.
sweat.
Oh, my God.
Mexico is so much hotter than Texas.
And now he wants them to just off this, you know, and in fact, it's the Kurgan. He says, sir, you know, we can't do this.
What we're going to do as we're told. Right, Sergeant?
Basically, Nick Nolte says, well, I'm going to go... They're in the heart of this, like, drug cartel. It's like the bar...
Oh, yeah. Exterior shots just show mayhem.
It's like the Woodstock of people with guns.
So, Texas Ranger Jack goes to confront Cash Bailey at his stronghold. They have a good back and forth outside about how I could just shoot you down right now.
It's between you and me.
I'm calling you out.
Powers Booth is also in on the sweating competition. He's wearing his shirt, his button-down shirt, like way open.
Oh yeah,
and it's just a stream running down his body.
Oh, yeah, he's
winning the competition.
Sweating bullets.
Sweating so hard that when they transition inside, he now has a magic beard.
It's just like boom, boom. Sweat beard. It's like it's crazy. So
movie magic.
It's movie magic. So yeah. So basically, they get in there and they are fighting over the girl who's sitting right there.
And Cash Bailey's just being a son of a bitch.
He, for wanting to be with her so much. He is just he's a total dick to her the entire time, and it's like, what did you expect, lady?
And yeah, the way that she's acting about it, all scared, and it's like, you feel bad for her because of what a bad time she's clearly having, but not so bad, because it's like, this is what you wanted.
Yeah.
Justice is served.
Michael Ironside, meanwhile, is up in one of the upper levels of the Stronghold building, it seems, and he finds the Midnight Bomber that bombs at midnight, and in a shocking twist, he's the inside man. He's the inside man. He's the guy who's been sending information apparently to Michael Ironside this whole time. But they've done nothing in the movie to set that up as if he was connected in any additional way, or that they even had an inside man in Bailey's organization.
At this point, we find out that Michael Ironside is actually running the missions, and the government isn't. He's covering his ass.
This is not a sanctioned operation.
Michael Ironside is covering his ass.
So he cooked up a story and dropped the 6 of us in a meat grinder.
Yes, and he's found by Clancy Brown in the midst of killing his contact and about to extract the incriminating evidence and wipe the debt. And we find out that he's apparently into Cash Daly's debt.
How much you in for?
$10 million.
How do you rack up a debt of $10 million? How do you rack up a debt of $10 million today, let alone in the late 80s?
And Clancy Brown, at this point, takes his fully formed step as the secondary protagonist of this movie and stands up to Michael Ironside. Now, by this point, Cash Bailey and Jack have gone outside to have their little duel.
Well, it's a good day for a killing.
They're going to have a duel at 10 paces, they're going to shoot each other, and whoever wins gets to have the girl.
And he ups the ante to be more of a son of a bitch to the girl. We joke that he seems to be breaking character.
The first time they try to have the duel, she starts crying.
And
he's like...
Shit. Look, honey, if you're gonna cry, it just fucks it all up. It lowers the whole tone. I mean, this ain't just dog shit we're doing here.
Powers Booth apparently breaks character for a moment to offer acting advice, but really it's just to prove himself to be even more of a dick, and to prove how wrong she was.
Show us some tit if you want to be useful. Give us some motivation.
She made the wrong choice.
A little more leg.
You now have an idea of the wrongest choice that you made, how wrong your choice was.
That's a good girl.
Right, and they're about to have their gunfight at 10 paces, and the fight between Clancy Brown and Michael Ironside erupts upstairs. And
so there's a huge fucking shootout.
All the dominoes start going down.
Oh yeah, and it's an awesome scene. This is probably one of my favorite scenes of the movie because even if you're not invested a whole lot into the characters and what's going on, it's a sweet ass fight scene.
It's awesome.
So Michael Ironside's been outed as a traitor to his unit
as
here,
a rat,
and they get sweet, sweet vengeance. But the conclusion of the B story is that, and if you're listening, you hear that, spoilers, everyone on the B team dies. They all get brutally shot down by Cash's cartel, and then it all kind of draws to a close. It's like everybody in this movie has 3 hearts, like it's like Zelda or something. Like you get shot 2 or 3 times.
You have to hit the blinking areas, all of them on their body, before they'll go down.
The Rangers,
15 minutes before the end of the movie, the B story, the B team is
comes
finished.
To a screeching
They're all fucking dead.
That's the end. And it was kind of deeply unsatisfying.
Yeah, you gotta keep moving forward. That's the whole point of things. And thank you now, I appreciate it.
And then Powers Booth and Nick Nolte are still alive, so they still have to have their showdown.
Jesus H. Christ Almighty, you think I got all day to fuck around here?
And they do. And, obviously, Powers Booth gets shot to death.
Yeah, and it just ends, and then it just ends really kind of abruptly.
It's like a really disappointing ending, and it didn't really build to anything. I mean, none of the B-Team guys got out. You knew that Nick Nolte was going to get his girlfriend back. There wasn't really a point to have both of those movies intertwined.
I find it difficult that anybody was passionate enough about this movie to see it through to its end. So, which movie do you think is better? Which would you recommend over the other?
I would recommend Streets of Fire over Extreme Prejudice. If you watch it with your friends, you'll have a little more fun. It's easier to follow. It doesn't have as many stars, but the ones that are in it do prime examples of their acting in it, which I enjoyed a lot. And it's a little more lighthearted, and it doesn't take itself as seriously, I think.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. If there were only one of these movies that you were going to watch, it's got to be Streets of Fire. It's certainly, I think, overall a more coherent story. There's not a secondary story that's muddying the waters. And it's kind of interesting to see a star who really never was. You know, he had done work before that, and he's done work after that. But Michael Perry's hope of becoming an A-list star, I think, kind of sunk with this movie as you know, a blockbuster. It's often hard to sell a Hollywood studio on, you know, any kind of real building in an alternate world like that. And so I think that there'd be some people might be shy about producing a new movie that takes them into a world that's similar enough but different enough, like that stylistically.
Yeah, I think it's also, I guess I agree with that. I think Streets of Fire is very much a hallmark of its time in that it uses like 50s style greasers and diners and cars and all those elements as the setting for the story because that was a popular thing at the time. So whereas like now we have more like Matrix-y kind of, you know, leather and guns, and we have a lot of like technological things, and you know that seems to be or like with the new Hansel and Gretel coming out, you know, they have the leather, they have the guns, even though it's not really the time period. You know, it's that seems to be the way they do things today. Whereas in the 80s you had Billy Joel's Uptown Girl. Just because I'm in love with an uptown girl.
Your music's bad and you should feel bad.
Right. And that pretty much tells you everything that you need to know right there about people eating this up, which apparently they didn't, but everybody thought they would.
So you know, if you're a fan of stylistic directors who have a lot of the same hallmarks and kind of set pieces that they use in a lot of their movies, you know, take a look at Walter Hill. He's definitely a different sort of director, but he brings it to the table in his own way. You know. So yeah, I definitely say check both of these movies out, especially if you're looking for a laugh. But you know, there is a reason that most people don't remember these two movies from Walter Hill.
Yeah, ultimately they are fun to watch with friends, but ultimately forgettable. Really, I'm surprised I recalled as much of the plot from Streets of Fire as I did because we watched it a little while ago. So,
but in any case, so that's our review.
I'm Jake,
and I'm Trev,
and we're Jake and Trev review everything, and we hope you watch our next video when we make one.
Thanks for watching.
Peanut butter disaster.